people are naturally competitive. We can see this in children, where children will fight over the attention of their parents with their siblings. Even children, like a boy will fight with his dad for the competition of his mom, right? Children will compete with their other siblings for the attention of their parent. And so this is something that's deeply wired in almost every human. In fact, you even see this with other animals. Some birds will literally kill their siblings so that they can get more food, right? And so as you can see, competition is a normal part of life, okay? And because of that, we have to understand that if that competition isn't just competing with other people, it's also competing with what's taking up your time, right? So for example, a child who wants to hang out with their parents all the time will hate his parents' job, for example, because they're always working. And so that kid will resent their job. That kid will in fact almost feel like jealous that the job gets most of the attention of the parent. And the reason why that is because it's deeply wired in humans to not only be jealous and compete with people, but also with things, right? And the reason why it's this: one, from an evolutionary perspective, right? Competitiveness can be seen as a survival mechanism. The humans that were the most competitive in our evolutionary days were the ones that survived the most, right? And also children, through competitive activities, children learn about their strengths and weaknesses and the value of effort, right? And also through social comparison, you can assert how valuable you are through competition. And so because of that, we sort of remove the competition when we're dating someone and we like them. And the reason why is because when we like someone, we want to spend most of our time with them. So we stop playing basketball, for example, just give an example. We stop working as much. We stop doing the things that we love, all because we want to spend time with them. And so they first met you when you were living your best life. They first met you when you were single and you had things that you had in your life. You had friends, you had family, right? You had activities. In fact, a lot of people will tell you that when they get in relationships, they stop doing the things that they used to do. They stop doing the things that made them more attractive to the other person. And the reason why is this, right? People are always in competition, consciously or unconsciously. People will compete with anything. When there's nothing fighting for your attention, your testosterone lowers, your dopamine lowers, and there's no such sense of urgency, right? Living your best life, living a life that you love, actually becomes a threat to your future partners. And the reason why is this: enjoying your life and not needing someone in your life, even though it's very important to need someone. I'm not saying that I want you to be a bunch of Terminators out there. It's very important to need other humans, okay? But what I am telling you is that don't give all of yourself to that person. You have to leave something that you could that you only enjoy. Like a dog who's eating food and finds the bone, the dog will put the bone on the side so that when he finishes his food, he eats the bone last, right? So it's the same thing, right? Competition, which in this case is you enjoying your life. I'm not even kidding with you. You having a life that doesn't include that person all the time is literally like having your own Tyrone, the personal trainer. It's literally like having that hot secretary at work that your wife is always worried about, right? It's not just about presenting to them somebody of the opposite sex. It's literally your emotional investment in other things. Literally that, right? And so what will happen is that by you enjoying your life, by you having things that doesn't include the person that you're dating, you literally create competition without having to include the sex, right? Competition creates a sense of scarcity around the prize, especially if there is only one winner or a limited number of winners. This scarcity makes the prize appear more exclusive and valuable, increasing its allure. So that means if you work, if you enjoy your work, if you enjoy your life, that will literally, it's funny, right? It's crazy because it sounds toxic, but they're going to really compete. They're going to want to take you out of that so that you could give them all their time. Because this is just human nature. They want all of your time, right? And the reason why is this, it's important to do this. By them sensing that you love that you have other things that you enjoy in your life, that you're actually enjoying it. One, they think people want you miserable when they're not around. Like that's just a part of human nature, right? If you believe that the person you're dating doesn't suffer in your absence, a part of you is going to be a little resentful, right? It's human nature. It's almost like being dead and going to your funeral and seeing your family members high five each other, doing the worm, doing spinneroonie. Like you'll be pretty pissed off. You're gonna want to see some tears. You're gonna want to see some doctors trying to resuscitate Granny because she choked on the pork chop because you died. You're gonna want to see some suffering. And so humans don't like the thought that when you're not around, you're having fun, because we want to feel like we provide something in your life. We want to feel like if we leave, there's a hole that's lacking, right? Every person, it's one of those feelings that we feel guilty for because we don't want to admit that we don't want you to be happy without us. But deep down, humans are self-interested creatures, and if we believe that, we're gonna assume that your happiness when they're not around kind of offends them. Right? Like I better not see my ex happy, right? So another reason why enjoying your life and living your best life is so important is because it creates a psychological ownership in the person. By them competing with your life, literally, right? And as an individual engages in competition, either with a person or an abstract concept, they develop a sense of psychological ownership over the prize. The anticipation of claiming the prize and the fear of losing it increases its perceived value. Right? And another thing, competition can invoke strong emotions such as excitement, anticipation, adrenaline, but also it creates a sense of loss, creates of lowering of self-esteem, the competition, right? Because you're comparing yourself, right? And this psychological reaction to competition makes them value you when you give them your time. Whenever all of a sudden you're free for the weekend for them, they value it more. It's almost like an absent dad that's barely home, but when he arrives, the kids are happy because they finally got time to spend time with their dad, right? Or they finally got time to spend time with their mom. Your absence increases the presence when you're around, but also the fact that you are not miserable when they're not around is really the thing that irks them, right? And so what they'll do is that they'll try hard when you're in person to imprint themselves in your mind, right? Now, look, obviously, I don't want you to completely have a different life when they're not around. That's not what I'm talking about, right? What I'm talking about is don't drop your friends. Don't drop your activities. Make the person, squeeze them in your life. Don't exclusively remove everything for them. No, squeeze them in. Too many people I know get into relationships and all of a sudden lose their sense of self. We call that relationship name, right? Relationship Melissa, relationship Tyrone, relationship John, relationship Will, right? Like we tend to almost like have a different names for our friend who drop all of their friends for the relationship. And what they will notice is that those relationships are not like those relationships, in my opinion, don't work out long term, because removing all of the things that you did because now you want to spend time with this person is literally doing the opposite of what got them. Now, obviously, what made you get the person, you're not going to keep doing, right? Like, if you were on dating apps, you're not going to keep being on dating apps. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that we cannot create almost like a addiction-like response to someone, which means when somebody gets addicted to crack, for example, they stop doing the things that they used to do. They stop playing basketball. They stop hanging out with their friends. They stop doing extracurricular activities. All they're doing is making money and doing drugs, right? And this is what happens. A lot of people lose their quality of life when they get into relationships where they literally stop working on the things that they had. Some of their friends get resentful because they feel like they're not needed in their lives. They stop doing the activities. They stop going out. They lose themselves. They get out of shape. They stop trying to be attractive because they feel like they got everything they need. When in reality, you gotta keep them in competition. You got to make them want you. You got to make them need you, right? And one of the laws of power is keep people dependent on you, and you cannot keep people dependent on you if you remove all of the things that made you happy in your life and just exclusively focusing on this person. People can sense that, and it pushes them away. It's not a good feeling. If they like all of the attention that you give them, like where you dropped all of your friends and you stop going out and all you're doing is spending time with them, that's toxic. Anyone with a sense of boundaries will tell you, go get a life. Get a life outside of me, right? That they'll tell you that, because personally, I love it when the girls that I'm seeing have a life. God have mercy. I love that. Because I don't feel guilty when I'm not hanging out with you. That's another thing. I don't feel guilty when I say no to you to hang out tonight, because I know you have something else backing you off, and that's attractive, right? So it's not just the fact that you're busy, but you do make time for me. That's what you want. But also, I don't feel the burden of saying no to you and knowing that you're miserable because now you can't spend all day, all week with me, all weekend with me. Right. And also, people will tell you, exes have a tendency to come back when you're happy. It's almost like they can sense it, like someone's happy. They can sense it. You are your most powerful and your most attractive self when you are in love with your life. When you stop seeking happiness through someone and learning to deepen the experience of what you already have. Meaning, if you draw, get better at drawing. If you like to dance, get better at dancing. If you know your friends, get to know them more. Go on vacation with them. Deepen what you already have, your connection with the present moment, your connection with your job. Love every aspect of your life. And if somebody comes into you, they're going to sense that competition. There's this guy named Skip Bayless, and he says that he told his wife, which is fucking toxic, my job comes first and you're second forever. I'm like, goddamn, girl, you better run away. But that's actually a funny thing, because say that to someone, and psychologically, if you're on the receiving end of that, you're going to feel a sense of competition. You're going to feel, and when they don't give you enough time, you're going to resent their job. Not resent them, but resent their job. And this creates almost like a jealousy. Like, I'm not good enough to win you over. I'm not good enough for you to drop your job for me. That's what people think. And guys will tell you that, because this happens with guys, that when a guy meets a woman and he has a perfect life, and he starts giving all of the attention to her, so he stops working out, he stops doing the activities he used to do before. And what they tell you is that as soon as they start giving all their time to their new partner gets turned off and walks away and leaves. It's not about not being vulnerable, but understanding competition. People need to feel some resistance. People need to feel like there's something else that you might value more than them, so that they can stay motivated. And having a great life that you love and you enjoy is a competition to some people. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Because they'll just feel like jealous. Like, why am I not good enough for you to drop all of those activities for me? People really just say that. Why? Like, am I not good enough that you don't text me all the time? Or you get what I'm saying? They're like, oh, why can't you just take some time off of work and just respond to me? This type of friction, yes, it is conflict. But this is the type of conflict that people generally deal with. Because you resent that, but you know that's part of life. You know, and anytime somebody wants you to do less of the things that you love in your life, that's a red flag also. That's why living your best life and setting goals and achieving your goals to live your best life is truly something that insulates you from bullshit. It reveals the toxic people, but it also increases your aura. It makes you. So many people, when they know that you made them the center of your life, will literally become monsters. When they know that you have no life, when they know that you not completely depend on them, a lot of people switch up. For example, it's like a guy who is dating a girl, like, because this happens a lot, and as soon as they have a kid with her, she just turns into a fucking monster. The reason why that is because now she knows you can't escape. Now she knows This is not all women, by the way. Guys, relax the fuck down, guys. This is not all women. That's just an example. And this happens with guys too. Is that some guys will tell their women to quit their job, stop hanging out with their friends, and as soon as they completely stop doing all the things that they enjoyed, the guy starts acting nasty, toxic, right? And they start acting completely different. So you have to be careful with people who encourage you to give you almost all the time. Like it's totally fine for a guy to be jealous that you're hanging out with your friends. You get what I'm saying? I completely understand that, right? Like with girls, like some of the girls that I dated, they didn't like the fact that I travel so much. I get it. You know, it creates conflict. But when people don't have something to complain about, I don't know. There's just something about it that they notice that what they were complaining about kept things interesting, right? You may not have all the time to hang out. Like it's like your job, right? You hate you going to work all the time, but you notice, like in school, right? Remember when we were in school, we hated going to school, but there came some summers where we were just fucking bored, and we were like, man, like I may not like school, but I hate being bored more. I wish there was something to do, right? They may not like the fact that you have a busy life, that you enjoy your life, that you have your own friends, your own activities, but a part of them, there's a sense of like, if they're not toxic, there's a sense of like relief that you have something to do. Any person that's healthy wants some distance from time to time. And the days that they complain about you being busy and about you going on vacation with your friends that not invite them, will also come days when they don't want to see you, and they know that there's a certain, like, you're not gonna freaking go apoplectic when you say let's not hang out today. And that's a real thing, man. Honestly, I hate the fact that, like, if I date a girl and I'm like, she's gonna freaking complain that I can't hang out with her. Like it's a burden, because I'm like, damn, I want to be able to be okay that I may not hang out with you today, and I know you're gonna have something else to do. That's very important. That's a healthy thing to do. So what I'm trying to say is that when they sense, like when they notice that they are literally feeling jealous of your job, or they resent the fact that you can't spend time with them, that's when people realize what they feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really notice how much you love your life until you feel like you're losing your life. You don't know how much you love your job until you feel like you're losing your job, right? And so this is a good way to create competition without really banging the whole football team, or without really like using the opposite sex as a way to make them jealous. Just living your life will create the competition that will make them self-reflect about how they feel about you, enhance what they feel, and thus want to spend more time with you. It's what competition does. Competition reveals how much you want something. And just having a busy life that like clearly excludes them from it because of because you have your own life, creates that self-reflection. And that self-reflection in the light of competition always makes the prize look better. And it always makes you gives you the illusion that your life will be complete if you get that one thing, because that's what competition does. Live your life. Be happy, motherfuckers. That's what I'm telling you guys. Just more attractive. All right. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one, go to myforattraction.org, and I'll see you guys later.